Welcome back to the channel, you guys. I am stoked for the return of YouTube to document everything that goes into this next bodybuilding prep. So I'm going to be taking you guys along the way, all of the nitty-gritty details, the highs and the lows, everything that goes into getting shredded, bringing a full and complete package to the stage, and also what it's like to experience competing as a bodybuilder as a trans man. Anyways, stay tuned for all the details that are coming. I'm going to be walking you guys through my current full day of eating and kind of a workout in the gym today. So you're going to kind of get a good look of everything. I'll show you guys my current fasted morning look and also what we're looking post-workout, so you guys can kind of see what the daily difference is looking like right now. But all in all, definitely stoked to bring you guys through the journey this time. And if you guys have any questions or things that you're looking to get educated on yourself for your own future endeavors, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to include them in future videos. Good morning and happy Saturday, fam. We are officially 16 weeks out from the Legend Super Cup. So we weighed in just above 180 this morning. I will post my most recent updates for my check-in for my coach just right up here. But I'm very ecstatic. We had a very good foundation and routine flowing into the start of prep here right now. Our goal was to get the body weight up as high as possible while keeping good body composition before starting the game, which we did fantastic. So I'm very, very stoked to get back on stage. It's been 2 full years since we brought an improved package to the stage, and I'm ecstatic to show you guys what I've been building. Anyways, nonetheless, we're gonna go get into the morning cardio. I'm gonna bring you guys through the entire morning routine, which is gonna set me up for success to crush it on stage. All right, so cardio is done. We are showered, freshened up. Now it's time for meal one. So we are going to get a few eggs, some egg whites, some sourdough bread, nice little combination together. We're gonna make one of my favorite meals, French toast. So anybody who says that bread is bad, they can get out of here, because absolutely bullshit. Because I love my sourdough bread, and I've also done 2 full bodybuilding preps using bread, and I'm gonna do my 3rd one using bread as well. Anybody milk lovers, this right here is clutch. There's also a Fairlife one that's also really, really good, but 20 grams of protein for like 200 milliliters of milk, like, let's go. All right, and something else I like to add in there is just gonna be a little drop of vanilla extract, which once I get further into prep, I will remove my sweeteners, but 16 weeks out, we can still enjoy a little bit of flavor. And then of course we have our ground cinnamon. Perfect. So anybody else not like the little white, weird, squiggly shit? Because it's not it for me. Okay, so we got all right, so we got 3 whole eggs, 200 grams of egg whites, 150 grams of this milk, and we are left with this beautiful, oh yeah, give that a good little spin and mix up. I find it's always easier if you mix up all of the liquid ingredients, so to speak. Get those eggs beat up first, and then add your cinnamon in. So much easier to get that mixed in afterwards, if you don't want your cinnamon flying all around the kitchen. Because I know Olive definitely prefers when I keep the cinnamon in the bowl. And then we're just gonna take this beautiful little bowl mixture, and we're just gonna dip our sourdough in that and throw it on the pan. Currently, right now, I'm doing 150 grams of sourdough with meal one. And it's probably my favorite meal of the day, not gonna lie. One reason, because I do love French toast, but second reason, because I'm always so hungry first thing in the morning. And then you add in like a little tiny bit of cardio to the mix. Your boy's ready to eat. All right, that looks beautiful. Perfection right there. Let's go. All right, so let's get this dipped, thrown on the pan, because we got a nice few slices to cook here. Not gonna lie, one of the things I'm the most excited for about the starter prep is the reduction of food, because anybody who knows me, I have to eat the most ridiculous amount of food when I'm bulking. So I actually just like really look forward to the first few initial food drops. You know, I'll probably be a different story when I'm like 8 weeks out talking to me about how I'm feeling about my food. But for right now, I'm just so thankful for my meals to not be so big, not have to force feed. And anybody who's done like a true deep bulk phase knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's like a relief to not have to eat such large boluses of food 6 times a day. Anyways, nonetheless, I'm gonna get this food cooked up and crush it. We got some check-ins to get into, and then we got a posing session. Busy day on the books as per usual, but I will take you guys through what it all looks like. All right, so this is my little office space. So we're gonna sit down here, crush a few check-ins, get some work done, and that is half of my French toast. We're gonna eat that and gonna cook the rest. So meal one, we're gonna start eating this while getting into some client updates. Multitasking is the only way to stay up on work and all of your meals. So you make it happen. Saturday mornings are kind of busy, so we're gonna dive into this. We got a few hours of check-ins to do, and then hopefully gonna get another meal in real quick, because I do have a posing session midday with one of my clients as well. So I'll catch you on the next one, because you don't need to hear me eat. Ended up working my way right through until my posing session with Dakota, which he absolutely crushed. That was awesome in there this morning. However, we have to catch up on some food, so we're gonna go get our next meal cooking, which is going to be cream of rice and whey. New thing I've been liking recently. I actually usually really don't like cream of rice, but one of my other clients, Xavier, hooks me up with this cream of rice recipe, which is like it's a chocolate cake cream of rice with Ferrero Rocher protein powder, and peanut butter and cinnamon, and damn, it slaps. So we're gonna go get that cooking, get that eating, and we'll stay tuned for the next meal. Gonna get our cream of rice cooking here now. So like I said, I've been loving this chocolate cake combo. So usually what I'll do is I'll actually just take my pan that I'm going to cook it with, throw that directly on my scale, and then I'll just weigh it up directly on the pan. A nice big serving. Keep me well fed for the day. All right, so 125 grams of cream of rice. Personally, myself, I like to do every 30 grams of dry cream of rice, I add in 100 grams of water, okay? Because personally, I don't like my cream of rice clumpy and shit. Once you mix the protein powder in, you really don't want it to be so thick. And another hack that I found is a silicone whisk to get that mixed up is going to save you so much stress. So a good whisk is your best friend. Get that all nice and mixed up so that everything's all broken down fully. And then from there, we are ready to get this fired up on medium heat. Realistically speaking, I find the trick with cream of rice is just like not letting it clump up. So just like periodically stirring it. I did once try cream of rice in the microwave, and it's complete shit. So for anybody out there, that microwaves or cream of rice. Sorry, no shots at you, but yeah, I'm just gonna spend the actual, like, it takes what, like 3-4 minutes to cook it in the microwave. It takes 5-6 minutes on the stove and tastes so much better. Sometimes for me, it's the little things that count. So like, spent taking an extra minute to put something on the stove to make it taste better. That's what we're gonna do. Anyways, we're gonna get this cooked up. You don't need to watch me stir it, but I'll show you what is the next step of this recipe that makes it so good. So I'm currently at just over 5,000 calories on my training days, 4,500 on my rest days. So that's a nice decent drop down in calories right from the get-go, but that's kind of the smart way to approach a prep. At the forefront, when you have a little bit of extra body fat, aka extra energy, get a little bit more aggressive with the cutting phase, get the ball rolling. So we have already been implementing 10K steps a day. Over my bulk phase, I did actually kind of pull my step count down to about 6,000 steps a day, just because the food was getting up so high. But I'm very excited to feel the cardiovascular difference already, because I honestly really like doing cardio. It's good for my mental, obviously good for the physical health as well too. But I'm already seeing a quick difference in my metabolism. So I know that with this food drop, with the cardio already in place, we're gonna see a nice good change this first week of prep, and I'm excited for it. But also, it's been a minute since I've been below 5,000 calories, so I'm probably gonna be feeling it for my first rest day tomorrow, especially after my big hamstring day that I have today. But I'll bring you guys through that, because I have a big back and hamstring workout later that is definitely different than my typical flow, but it's been giving me some crazy pumps. So I'm gonna keep you guys up to speed. Oh, this cream of rice is looking so good. My meal plan is currently broken down as I'm doing 6 meals a day. I have 2 cream of rice meals, I have 2 chicken and rice meals, I have a beef and potato meal, and I also have my French toast meal that you guys seen on my last one. But all in all, so far, I am sticking with all food sources that I know digest super well for me, all clean food sources that are going to give me exactly what I need from a macronutrient perspective. But all in all, we're fired up. That prep is actually here, because you guys know I honestly prefer dieting way more than I do force feeding. So let's fucking go. And this cream rice is just about done. So I like to actually, as soon as my cream of rice is like fully cooked, like, look at that texture. Oh yeah. But as soon as my cream of rice is fully cooked to the desired texture, my preference, then I'll take it off the actual heat on the stove and move it over to a cooler spot, and I'll mix my peanut butter in while it's still on the pan, because I just find it like melts and mixes in so nicely while it's still on the pan. And then from there, I'm gonna take this out, put it in my bowl that I'm gonna eat with. Need a big bowl for this. Can't use an olive size bowl. But yeah, so from here, we're gonna take this out of here, put that directly into our bowl. And we're gonna mix our whey protein directly in to this cream of rice, because our cream of rice is our clean carb source, but we still need our protein for this meal. So our protein is gonna come from the Limitless Ferrero Rocher protein powder mixed with this. Guys, you don't even know. So we have scoop, 2 full scoops of whey in there. Now, one thing that I find is a lot easier is, instead of trying to mix it with a spoon and it all just clumps together, even though I prefer to eat it with a spoon, I find it so much easier to mix this up with a fork, so I can actually push the protein powder down into the cream of rice, especially when you have such a big ass bowl of stuff to mix up here. We don't really want that protein powder flying out of the bowl. Get that all nice and mixed up in there. And there's a little bit of protein powder, typical. But I definitely do find that this is probably one of my easier meals to eat right now, just because honestly I can like sit down with just like a spoon in front of my laptop, get through a lot of client work, not really need to have like chicken and rice. I find it's like you gotta like cut it up and eat it. So I find I'll like take a half hour away from work sometimes to actually be able to finish that meal. Whereas this bowl right here, I can sit down with this and easily do my work. No problem. Tastes fire, but it's such a quick meal to both A, prep, and B, eat, but also it's so easy to eat while I'm actually doing work, which is a huge plus for me in my long, busy days. All right, so I'm absolutely famished here. We're gonna crush this beautiful bowl of cream of rice real quick while getting into some more client check-ins. Just had an awesome posing session, but while I was on that call, we had a nice few client updates come in. And that's the beautiful part about my job is I find a lot of my clients are in different time zones, so the check-ins come in like kind of like staggered one after each other. So I don't have like 15 coming in at one time, but they kind of periodically come in throughout the day. So typically I'm just like back and forth between like grabbing a meal, crushing back into check-ins, another meal, maybe a couple calls. And then for people that are in opposite time zones for me, that makes it a lot more manageable to be able to get back to people really quickly. So sometimes people are like, wow, that must be so difficult to have people in different time zones. And I'm like, no, it's actually beautiful because it like spreads out my day very evenly so that I have time to get back to everybody very promptly. But anyways, I'm gonna get into some updates, crushing this meal, because the work don't stop. Ain't that the truth? Meal 3, which is also going to be our pre-workout meal, is going to be the good old chicken and rice. Lately, which I'm sure you guys have seen lots on my Instagram story, I've been doing chicken nuggets and rice, just because I find it so much easier to get down so much chicken. But on another note, my coach did slightly put down my protein this first week of prep, which I'm very excited about because I've honestly never in my life eaten that high of an amount of protein before in my life. So my protein is down to 350 grams a day, which is like definitely where I prefer it. Just because like that's kind of more what I'm used to. Instead of having 180 grams or 190 grams of chicken in some meals, I'm down to 170, and I used to do 165 in most of my meals, so that's what I'm used to digestive wise. But nonetheless, getting into how to make these chicken tenders, pretty much is pretty straightforward. Just get your basic chicken breast. You're gonna cut them up into nugget-sized pieces. I'm a little bit of a picky eater, so I cut all the ick off my chicken as I'm going so that every bite is perfect. Might take a couple more minutes to meal prep, but I eat all my food so much faster that way. And for somebody who is a slow eater, that's important because I don't have time to waste eating 6 meals a day. And also trying to keep up with work. Couple things you're gonna want. Right here, the best spice you'll ever put on chicken, some pink Himalayan salt, and the premium panko breadcrumbs. Olive's whipping up the rice right now, God bless her. So we're gonna take, you can take your panko crumbs and just throw those in a Ziploc baggie. That's gonna make your life so much easier. I like to salt and spice my chicken the same way I would as if I wasn't using the panko crumbs, because I still want to get the same exact amount of sodium in that I usually would, And this is obviously my go-to flavor. Bless you, sweetheart. For everything chicken related, so we're gonna put a little bit of the, what even is this? Roasted garlic and peppers. And then from there, all that we're gonna do is we're just gonna take them individually, shake them in the baggie with the panko crumbs. And then from there, we're just gonna throw them in the air fryer. So I'll usually just take my tray over, line the tray so they're all flat. Usually I'll just roll them around in there. And then you got your nice little chicken nugget ready to go. But I just find this so much more palatable. Obviously, as I get into the deeper parts of prep and my calories come down and carbs are, you know, much lower, then we'll start cutting out stuff like this. But, you know, as of right now, I'm still eating 400 plus grams of rice in my meals. I'm very grateful that it's not like 550 grams anymore, but at the same time, you know, we're not going like low carb mode here. 16 weeks out right out of the gate, just a little dip down. So the very minimal amount of carbs in these that makes me eat my food 3 times faster is key. Because anybody who doesn't know, I'm probably the world's slowest bodybuilder in terms of eating on the face of the planet. Anyone who watches me eat one individual meal in person sees understands the struggle and the pain. Me, yeah, bulking season. Me eating a meal for like 2-3 hours. See, I feel like the people would like if you had my other mic sometime. See, I feel like they make a guest appearance. So all you want to do with these, pop them in the air fryer. Super simple. We're gonna air fry on 360. Now this Ninja happens to be insanely strong, so we're only gonna go 13 minutes on this bad boy. On my last air fryer though, I used to have to do this for like 15 minutes on 375, so will be different based on what air fryer you're using. Do note that I'm not a chef, so not here to give direct advice on how to cook. We're on track for meal 3, which is going to be our pre-workout meal, like we said. So this meal and next meal, which is meal 4, post-workout meal, are going to be the exact same. And let's just take a minute to appreciate. Oh, do they not look amazing? Oh yeah. So this meal is going to be a 400 grams of jasmine rice, 15 grams of olive oil, which I just prefer to cook in with my rice. And we're gonna have 100 grams of broccoli and 170 grams, oh, we're actually good, and 170 grams of chicken. Get these bad boys. All right, and just like that, we have our pre-workout meal. I'm gonna crush this meal, get through some client feedback text. This is usually when I like to go over form analysis, and I like to go into detail with how my clients can get the most out of their movement patterns in the gym. This usually consists of me sending over voice memos. So this is usually my time in the afternoon to get through those before I get into my own focus in the gym, which for today is gonna be back and hamstrings. And I'm stoked to get a full posterior chain pump. And I will give you guys an in-depth walkthrough of what that looks like right now. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat this. Catch you on the next one. Pre-workout meal is down the hatch. Now we're gonna get our pre-workout stack ready to go. So starting off with, of course, our pump surge. No matter what, this is a staple in my pre-workout stack, always. This is hands down my favorite non-stim pre-workout I've ever used in my entire life. Get a little extra large scoop there. But I'm definitely honestly not a big caffeine guy. I do, however, like this Wick mode. So this is a John Wick series that Jack Factory came out with about a year ago. And honestly, it only has 150 milligrams of caffeine in it, which for me is like perfect. There's lots of nootropics in there, good for like mental clarity and focus and whatnot as well. But definitely the perfect combination for me is a smaller, just shy of a full scoop of the Wick mode, and then a little bit of an extra serving of this. And then I do like to do 5 to 10 grams of creatine. Right now, I'm currently doing 5. That's usually where my range stays. And then I, of course, top that off with 3 No XD caps. So those are going to be nitric oxide boosters. So that's going to also very much so contribute to me getting a lethal pump in there today. So you can use code Chafe to save on all of these at jackfactory.com. I definitely would recommend, my favorite combo flavor right now is getting the blue raspberry in the Pump Surge Max, and then combining that with the Baba Yaga blue raz in the Wick mode. Stellar. So good. Pop these down. And fun fact, make your life easier. In case you didn't know, because I didn't know this until I was like almost like 28, aka like just a year or two ago. But these pills actually float. So once you put them in your mouth with liquid, if you put your chin down and then swallow, they just shoot right down so easily. So that's how I'm able to crush 3 of those no problem when I used to like choke on one. Anyways, we're gonna slam this down. One thing that I really have a good habit and practice of getting into, which I definitely recommend anybody to do, is whether it's on a pen and paper or it's structured on an app on your phone or something on those lines, I think that writing out your workout before you actually go to the gym, so you have a structured game plan of exactly what order you're doing everything in, you know mentally, clarity wise, what you're preparing your body to do before you even step foot in the gym. Every rep has an expectation already before I even get in there. AKA, for example, I'm gonna write out every single one of my exercises of what I'm gonna do today, and then given what I did last week, that's gonna be a gauge for what I should be aiming to get today. Now, at the end of the day, every single day is gonna be different, and we do need to go accordingly to how our body is responding or feeling on that given day. But, you know, 99.99% of the time, given the fact that I'm so structured with everything from my nutrition to my sleep to my hydration, typically everything is exactly as I predict when I go in. So, for example, if I have myself programmed to do 2 sets of 10 to 12, and last week I got 14 and 13 reps, well, best be damn sure we need to go up a little bit in the weight this week. Whereas if I only got 10 and 8, well, I would be holding my weight there and slowly building those reps up with proper form. So anyways, I'm gonna dive into writing this workout out, judging off my week's priors numbers, and then I already know what I am going for. It's gonna be a good workout today though. All right, workout ready to go for the day. So I also do find that this is like a really good way for me to kind of like switch off from work, reset into what this next focus is going to be for the next 2 hours of my day here. And similarly, as I'm driving to the gym, that's when I start to turn my phone on do not disturb mode, so that once I get into the parking lot, I spend a good full 10, if not 15 minutes visualizing how my workout is going to go, what the flow of it's going to be, you know, what intensity I'm going to bring to each set. And that also really does help me turn off from work because I'm so on all day long. And now I can like transition into my physical and mental focus being all in on my bodybuilding and every set and every rep being intentional. Anyways, on that note, I will catch you guys in the car.
Going down.
We are chilling in the parking garage. Oh, that's so good. But I'm just going to crush a little bit of this pre-workout. I'll only live about 8 minutes away from Pure, so not too far of a drive. So I typically try to finish my pre-workout before I pull out. So then by the time I get there, it's actually starting to kick in. I'm typically doing anywhere from like 5 to 10 minutes of warm up on a treadmill just to get the blood flowing. Not necessarily doing like legitimate cardio, but between like the drive and then like that little bit on the treadmill, I find like my pre-workout's like perfectly kicked in. However, I am so notorious for going to the gym, and if I have any, like, if I were to walk into the gym with this much pre workout, this would still be in my top three exercises in, because I just go in and get so caught up training. And I drink a lot of water when I'm training, but I'm not really drawn to drinking like anything flavored. But yeah, anyways, just my 2 cents. Gonna get this crushed. See you guys at the gym. All right, we are officially here at Pure. This officially marks our first workout of prep 2026. Going to be a back and hamstring, full posterior chain, little touch up on rear delts, biceps, a whole lot of fun stuff. So it's going to be a bit of a grinder, going to be a fun one. So stay tuned, try and keep up. And if you're really crazy, save this workout and try it out for yourself. So up first, we're going to do a basic lat pull down. Key thing here is I'm going to go just outside of shoulder width, and when I come and sit down here, I'm going to ensure that just the tips of my front of my quads underneath that leg pad, so I'm not trying to drive my hips too far forward. And I'm also not leaning back, keeping my abs braced down, so when I drive down, I'm driving those elbows straight down through, keeping the lats engaged as I stretch up. That's my back stretch I want to go to, back down through. All right, so I already warmed up, finished my cardio, and got my first couple of warm-up sets done there. So that's gonna be our first working set of the day. Goal there is really just light up the lower lat more so than anything else, but really we know we're getting the whole lat here. But all in all, good first set of the day. Time to have some more fun. All right, that first set felt really good. Go up one more, try to get 8 to 10 here. Keep it nice and clean. 2 working sets, and then we move the fuck on. So now we're gonna get into the upper back. Just kind of like to start off with the lats first, then we'll get into the upper back, and then we'll make our way down to warming up the hamstrings before we get into my favorite exercise of the day, but we'll save that for later. So ideally our goal here right now is just to do a warm-up set that is relatively lightweight for me, but enough to get a little feel on the muscle, of course, but not create too much fatigue. Set the form perfectly,
how I want it executed when I get into my top working set. But of course, this is just warm-up time. Time to focus. So one good thing to always be aware of is your elbow path is going to dictate what back musculature you're going to engage. So if I was going really narrow through here, which we are going to do later, that's going to be lats. If I want to get upper back, so traps, rhomboids, all that jazz, we're going to want to go think about pressing your chest forward into the pad, creating a wide chest. So like you're trying to, as you get those elbows back wide, I'm thinking about creating space along my collarbone region. A little warm up, get into the fun stuff. Fun fact, this specific machine in particular is probably the #1 piece that I've used to develop my back, both for upper back and lats, in the past 5 years. How's it going, man? Oh, good, good, thanks. Bunch of beauties around here. All right, time to get this shit done. It's getting fucking warm in here. Whew. A little sweaty. Trying to ditch the hoodie. Okay, working set #2. First set felt fucking amazing, so let's just replicate that again, boys, and we're set. So for move 3, we are going to do a lying hamstring curl. Instead, we're going to get those hamstrings fired up. Main thing that we're focusing on here is getting like a good range of motion while keeping maximal tension on the hamstring the entire time. So no raising up the hips, no butt winking, no using your back to move the weight, and keep shit in line. All right. So usually what I like to do is I set up, my hips, knees, and feet are going to maintain that perfect railroad track. And then I actually like to use this to push myself forward so I can really get that tension on my hamstring. From there, I'm using my abs and my serratus to brace down. I'm also pushing my hips forward and down into the seat the whole time. And I'm just braking from the knees, pulling up through. I'm actually thinking about trying to stretch my feet to the wall behind me. A lot of people think it's about going down, but it's really about trying to think about stretching back away from yourself. Same thing here. I'm trying to think about keeping my shins long, coming away, far, and around. It's not about how high up I go. It's about how far around I can make this, if that makes sense. Again, the #1 place where I see people fuck this up is once we come up. I see people right here start to raise up into the hip. That's what we don't want to do. So I need to keep my hips pressed forward the whole time in order to keep that tension on the hamstring. No rise of the hip at all. Keep it nice and smooth and controlled. Alright fam, I lost another layer. Got way too fucking warm in here. Everything that I created on my warm-up sets is exactly what I'm going to emulate here now on my working sets. Nothing changes. All reps standardized the same. Okay. Fucking hell. Shit. God damn. And just like that, somehow we are at my favorite exercise of the day. The good old barbell RDL. Let's fucking go. So, a couple big things that I like to focus on with this one is that this is a fucking hamstring and glute exercise, not a fucking back exercise for one. But number two, that the more I can root myself into the floor and the more I can create internal stabilization before I even start my set, the better off I'm gonna be. So I'm rooting my feet into the floor here, getting tension in the hamstrings. I'm thinking about pushing my hips back behind me to stretch the hamstring. And then I'm thinking about pushing the hip forward to come back up. So this exercise is about the hips going backwards and the hips going forwards to get a lengthening of the hamstring and a contraction in the hamstring and glute. Making sure that we're keeping internal pressure on that foot so we keep everything in line. And we should even feel our adductors stabilizing a little bit here too. So try to prevent yourself from thinking about going down with the chest and more so just think about back and forward with the hips, and you'll get so much more out of this movement. Anyways, that's a little light warm up. We're gonna do one more and then get into the good stuff. Because I do train this a little bit heavier, and in my opinion, there's a lot of technique that goes into this movement. I do like to warm it up thoroughly. So even though I'm doing 3.5 plates on this, I'll do 3 warm-up sets before I even, or feeder sets, you could call them, before I even get into my top working set here. Make sure everything is acclimating to the weight, adjusting perfectly, and keeping the form identical. Always think about pushing your feet. Now, I don't typically, because I'm doing 3 warm-up sets, there's a lot of volume there. So I'm not doing like 10 to 12 reps on every single set. I'm really just doing my first set. It's probably like 10 to 12 because it's super light. And my second one and my third one's probably only like 6 to 8 because I'm really trying to save all my energy for that last working set. Really, if that felt perfect by like rep 5, perfect. I'm adjusted. Time to move on. Save my glycogen for what really fucking matters. Especially as I get further into prep, saving glycogen matters. I personally find my grip strength tends to always give out before my hamstrings do. Obviously, they're a way bigger muscle group, being my entire hamstring and glute, which is bearing the load here. However, my forearms are not as gloriously sized, even though that would be dope if they were. But nonetheless, I find this is one of those exercises where you will see me using my Versa grips so that I'm really locked on that bar. I don't really have to think about anything. Now, even though this is just a warm-up set, I still want to warm up at least one of my sets exactly how I'm going to be gripping that bar, which for my top working set is going to be with these grips, because honestly, I literally will get double the amount of reps with these, not because my legs give out, but just because the bar sheerly just slips out of my hands. Hey, I got clammy ass hands, but like I said, there's no way my forearms are as strong as my entire posterior chain. Not even maybe. Okay. Also, you probably notice I'm doing these with no shoes on. This is probably the only time you'll ever see me with no shoes on in the gym, but I find I can really root into the floor so much better here. It's like night and day. All right, lats engaged, core tight, all in the legs. Okay, perfect little feeder set. Now we're ready for the real stuff. Let's go. Sometimes some things are just a head game. This exercise for me is just a head game. Love-hate relationship, but I'm gonna fucking fuck these up right now. 16 weeks, which means we only have 15 opportunities to get better with these. Can't waste a single fucking one. Here we go. Actually, some chalk. Chalk is a good idea. I almost forgot. So excited for my set. But chalk is a lifesaver for clammy hands like mine. Stick onto that bar like glue. Okay. Focused. Big hamstrings. Strong back to stabilize. All in the hammies. That's what we're here for. We're here to grow. Holy fuck. Man, they're so good but so bad. Oh my god. Fucking hell. Holy shit. I'm gonna sit here for a minute. Holy fuck. Okay. Oh. Our next movement, we're gonna get back into the upper back. It's gonna be a wide grip cable row. So again, same thing. If we wanna hit the upper back, we wanna keep that elbow path high and wide and really think about opening up the chest as we drive through. And another big thing that I like to focus on here is like posture again. So the more I can keep myself in line in a good posture the whole time, the better. So I'm like rooting in my feet here, almost like I'm doing a bent over row. And I'm keeping those abs braced so I can stretch this forward and come through, but there's no need for me to come all the way through here, nor am I leaning back through here. I'm kind of pulling this through myself, almost as if I'm trying to pull myself into the bar versus away from it. Okay, little warm up. Let's get into the real stuff. So I like to get my hands in an overhand grip position first, make sure everything's symmetrical on both sides, just inside where that bend is on the bar. Feet rooted in first, then slide back. Oh yeah, I'm feeling good today. Last back move of the day is going to be a trap isolated movement. So I'm basically doing like a face pull, but because my ass is so fucking light and I need so much weight to row with my back, I used to do like a standing cable face pull, but now the weight's too heavy that it literally pulls me forward, even if I have a 100-pound dumbbell in front of me. So I've switched to using this Watson pull down, which has actually been a phenomenal switch because now I can brace my legs underneath the pad and really, really engage my core still. And I can just really lock onto my trap and not have the weight pull me out of the fucking seat. So let's get those flowing. Check these out. All right, so need that in one more click. You definitely don't want to be wider than your own shoulder width to really hit the trap the best. Kind of in line is a little bit better. But we're going to take an overhang grip position here. I'm going to come down, brace my hips really well underneath this so I can lean back here, which is the opposite of what I was doing to train my lats earlier. And now what I'm thinking about here is I'm protracting and retracting to start that movement, kind of like a shrug. But I want to come down through here, squeeze the trap plane, and a lot of people are going to probably go way too far on this, whereas I just need to go right in front of the chin, and that's peak. And the traps love that. Oh yeah, 2 sets of those, that's all I need for the whole week for my traps. We're back to the hammer strength row. This time we're going to be standing, doing a single arm row. So we're going to have the same leg supporting us that we're rowing with that that hand. Think about keeping that chest upright by pressing forward into that pad. Elbow stays low and tight to the body because now we're trying to get into that lat fiber. So we're going to do one little warm up set here and then right into it. Everything's pretty warm, but just to make sure everything feels perfect before we get into the valuable set of the day. Get 2 working sets in there, and then get into a little bit of biceps. Okay. Now that we're clued up all the back, we're going to move into a little bit of biceps. So a couple cues with this one. Number one, think about always keeping the palm facing the ceiling so we're not going into like no weird flexion or extension with the wrist at the top. Secondly, notice where my arm placement is. Shoulder, elbow, then wrist. So I'm never crunching into positions like this. I'm always keeping my chest up tall, abs braced, and I'm just breaking from right here. All I need to focus on is closing this gap. Everyone focuses on coming up way too high, and that's when you start bringing your front delt into it a lot. So typically I find with my arms, they respond much better with that like 10 to 12, 10, 12, 12 to 15 rep range. Absolute minimum of 10. You can notice here I'm keeping that tension on my bicep the entire time. I see a lot of times when people do this, they either A, come up with right here that went into my front delt, or B, when they get to the bottom, they're like letting it go and then re-engaging. So I should be really keeping all this tight the entirety of the rep and never actually losing the tension on the muscle. That's our goal. Time under tension, mechanical tension is what gives us that hypertrophy response. Okay. Let's go. We're going to jump into a rear delt fly. We're going to do this on the reverse pec deck, primarily just because I find this is easy to stabilize and easy to set up at the end of my workout when I'm nice and gassed out. So really what I'm thinking about here is keeping my hips slightly back, chest pressing forward here, which is going to automatically put me in that perfect position that my rear delt fibers are going to run on. And I'm not thinking, see a lot of times when people use this, they're like pulling back and then coming out. Okay, that's not what we want to do. We want to think about driving this forward, pushing out, and imagine like you're swimming through the water. You're pushing that water away. That's what I want you to think about with your pinkies. You're pushing away, not necessarily behind you, if that makes sense. Okay, so chest is forward, and think about driving out to the sides, out to the walls. Okay, so we'll warm up just to get the blood flow pumping, and then we're getting right into our working set. 2 working sets here, 12 to 15, and then we got one last bicep move and time for some posing. All right, let's get a little pump back there. All right, last bicep move of the day here now. We're gonna get 2 sets of 10 to 12 in here. Get back here, bracing the abs, and again, just breaking up from that elbow. Keeping constant tension on the bicep. Oh yeah, good stuff. All in all, I'm really happy with the pump. Strength is still going up. Performance is on the incline. So we got no complaints. Gonna run through a couple rounds of posing here now, see how everything's looking. But so far, good first day of prep. Let's go. Return of the glasses mic. Sorry if that was extremely loud. Feeling thick.
The pump is complete. We are officially back home. Lock the car up. And I'm gonna go crush meal 4. I'm not gonna, it's literally the exact same meal that I showed you guys for my pre-workout meal. But I have a client call in literally 7 minutes. Typical me. So we're gonna get back upstairs and I'm gonna end up eating this meal on this call. And any of my clients that know me know how often I eat on my calls, because it would be hypocritical of me for me to tell my clients there's no excuses for getting your meals in and then me not get my meals in myself. So multitasking at its finest, as per usual. We're gonna crush the chicken tenders, 170 grams of chicken, 400 grams of jasmine rice, and 100 grams of broccoli again, just because it was already cooked earlier. So it's easy to just heat it up and get it going again. Also, do you know how glorious it is to not have to walk up a single stair after training legs? Just beautiful. But yeah, I still have a little bit of cardio to do. So after I clue up that client call, I have a little bit more text to get back to, and then we're gonna head back downstairs. Just clued up both of those client calls. So I was technically supposed to have, as you guys know, a client call as soon as I got back from the gym. That was supposed to be an hour, and then I was supposed to have like a 45-minute period in between then, which I was gonna, shower, get a little bit of cardio done, all that jazz. But that ended up being a really long call. Typical. I was chatting with one of my clients, but it was important. We got into some really good stuff there today, which is super valuable. So I definitely would rather have a more in-depth explanation than faster phone calls with my clients. But nonetheless, that led me into having back-to-back phone calls. So I literally just got out of the shower. Olive, God lover, is cooking my next meal because I need to get meal 5 down the hatch ASAP Rocky. So that is going to be beef and potato. So I'm currently doing for this meal 170 grams of beef and 350 grams of raw potato. So we're gonna get that cooking. Well, Olive's cooking it. It's almost ready. God bless. I'm gonna get that down the hatch. And then I'm gonna head downstairs, finish off my step count for the day. I'm just shy 10,000. We got 8,000 already, but I gotta get that other 2,000 done. So that won't take very long, and I'll get through the last final client feedback text that I have, because I have had a nice few texts come in for video feedback of my clients sending in training footage since I've been at the gym / on these calls. So we're gonna get into the next round of those while I'm doing my cardio. And then we have one last meal that I will show you guys, but we are almost through the day, getting through it. And this is pretty much what a day in the life looks like as an online coach and an amateur bodybuilder aspiring to kill it on the stage at the end of August. But nonetheless, I'm gonna go eat this meal because it's smelling really good and it's just about done, but judging on the look that Olive's giving me right now. But anyways, much love, peace out, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, so realized I didn't give you guys a proper outro last night. Ended up crushing that beef and potato meal that Olive cooked me, which was delish. And then I ended up getting a little bit of wind down time in. We hung out for a little tiny bit, had some chats, and then I crushed my last meal, which was cream of rice, whey, and nut butter. So we're just getting our fast morning cardio in here now, and then we're gonna get back up for some morning check-ins. Basically just got a full rest day of client work today, but nonetheless, we're gonna get this cardio crushed out and get our step counts done for this round of cardio checked off. But just wanted to clue up by saying that I'm very excited to be back on the YouTube channel. We are going to be doing weekly videos, so that's going to be weekly updates all throughout prep. So this concludes 16 weeks out. Stay tuned for next week for our 15-week out video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment what you want to see in the next one.